The white truck said U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on the side. That was the moment the HOA board collectively realized they had screwed up. 3 federal inspectors stood at the edge of Lake Marston, staring at the muddy shoreline where my dock used to be. The lead inspector turned to HOA President Trish Gallagher. "You ordered demolition of a permitted structure on a federal jurisdiction waterway without contacting us, the state or the owner?" Trish grimaced. "Well, technically, the dock violated our community aesthetic." The inspector held up a hand. "I'm here about the unauthorized destruction of a traditional dock with a recorded easement and federal approval." She displayed a falsified shoreline work form. The box-checked owner was signed P. Gallagher. "My name is Caleb Mercer, industrial electrician. My dock was older than the subdivision, built by my grandfather, and twice officially permitted. Trish, Queen Bee of Willow Point Shores, demanded I replace it with HOA-approved composite decking. I sent her copies of the recorded easement and Army Corps permits. I figured the law was on my side." Trish escalated, calling my dock an eyesore that cheapened the shoreline photos. "I made one mistake. I assumed she knew she'd lost. When I returned from a 24-hour shift, my dock was gone. The posts were sheared off, the decking splintered, the water a mess. An excavator sat nearby. An orange sign was staked in the ground, HOA-approved shoreline improvement in progress. Trish appeared. "We went ahead and took care of that non-compliant structure for you. You'll get an invoice once the work is complete." "You tore down my dock," I said, my voice flat. "We enforced the rules," she snapped. "You didn't just knock down a deck, Trish," I said calmly. "You tampered with a federally permitted structure on a regulated lake." I immediately sent a detailed report with photos, permits, and the HOA's notices to the Army Corps of Engineers and the State Department of Environmental Quality. The next morning, the federal truck and a state vehicle arrived. I met the inspectors and handed over my file. At the gazebo, Trish plastered on a fake smile. "Hi, we're the Willow Point Shores HOA board. Is there a problem?" "Yes," the lead inspector said curtly. "Several." She showed the online form Trish submitted for minor shoreline repair, where she checked the box for owner. "The dock you demolished was not common property. It was a privately owned, grandfathered, permitted structure." Trish went shrill. "It was non-compliant with our community standards." "Your community standards," the inspector said crisply, "do not override federal jurisdiction or state environmental law." The second inspector added, "You dredged below the ordinary high watermark without a permit. That's another violation." The treasurer nervously asked about penalties. "Civil penalties per day per violation," the inspector replied, "potentially 6 figures, plus restoration requirements." The official findings came in a blistering letter. The penalties were devastating. Mandatory full restoration of the dock to substantially similar design, dimensions, and materials as its prior historic configuration, at HOA expense. They could not force their plastic beige aesthetic on it. Shoreline remediation, also at HOA expense. A civil fine that made the HOA's reserve fund look like couch change. Referral to the State Attorney General's office for review of fraudulent filings. At the emergency HOA meeting, Trish tried to rally. The treasurer countered, "We barely have the money to pay the fines. Our insurance company already called." The board voted. Motion to remove Patricia Gallagher as HOA president passed 52-3. Motion to authorize legal counsel to seek indemnification from Miss Gallagher for penalties passed. The real punishment landed when the Attorney General's office finished. Trish signed a settlement, a personal civil penalty of $25,000 for falsifying the form, and a written agreement that she would not serve on any HOA, condo, or neighborhood board in the state for 10 years. When the registered letter arrived at her house with a final ban, neighbors reported hearing a scream that echoed across 3 cul-de-sacs. The papers didn't care about her protests. The signature line at the bottom was already filled in, hers.